Okay, you've probably seen it all over social media, maybe even on spa menus. I'm talking about vaginal steaming. It's often pitched as this, natural, ancient wellness ritual. But what's the real story behind all the steam? In this explainer, we're going to separate the trendy claims from the hard, evidence based facts of pelvic health.
So that's the big question, right? Is this some time-honored practice with real hidden benefits? Or is it just a modern trend that could actually be doing more harm than good? Let's get into it. I mean, you can't deny its popularity. It's everywhere. But here's the thing. Likes and shares are not the same as scientific proof. So we're going to cut right through all that social media noise and see what actual pelvic science has to say about the safety and the supposed benefits of this practice. First things first, what exactly is vaginal steaming? And what are these big promises that are driving all the hype? You might also hear it called Yoni steaming, but the practice is pretty straightforward. A person sits or squats over a basin of hot, steaming water. And that water is usually infused with different herbs, like mugwort or basil. The whole idea is that this steam is supposed to deliver these amazing therapeutic benefits directly to your pelvic area. And wow, the promises are huge. Promoters claim it can do pretty much everything, from cleansing the vagina to balancing your hormones and even improving fertility. I mean, those are some major, major health claims. So how do they actually hold up when we look at the science? All right, now we're going to put those claims to the test. We're going to compare the hype, point by point, with what we actually know about human anatomy and physiology. Let's kick things off with the most common claim, cleansing. Honestly, this whole idea is based on a big misunderstanding of how your body works. The vagina is an incredible, self-cleaning organ. It has a very specific pH and a balanced microbiome that acts like a natural defense system. Introducing steam can totally throw that delicate system out of whack, which, ironically, can increase your risk of infections like bacterial vaginosis or yeast infections. So what about period pain? I get it, a little warm steam might feel soothing for a second, but it can't actually address the root causes of cramps. That's all about uterine contractions, driven by things called prostaglandins. In fact, the heat and potential irritation could make your pelvic floor muscles tense up to protect themselves. It's a reaction called muscle guarding, and that could actually make the pain even worse. Now, the claims about balancing hormones or boosting fertility, they're just not backed by any science. These are unbelievably complex processes, okay? They're governed by your entire endocrine system, not by some external steam. There's just no scientific mechanism for how this practice could possibly influence them in any meaningful way. It's just not there. And this one's really important. After childbirth, your tissues are healing, they're incredibly sensitive and vulnerable. Applying direct steam isn't just unhelpful, it's actively risky. It can cause burns, it can mess with the natural healing process, and it can introduce bacteria into an area that's already working overtime to recover. So, we've established it's not very effective, but beyond that, vaginal steaming carries some very real, documented health risks. This isn't just about it not working, it's about the potential for actual harm. Let me be crystal clear about this. The number one risk, the most severe one, is getting burned. The tissues of the vulva are some of the most delicate and sensitive on your entire body. And look, this isn't just a what-if scenario. Our source material confirms there are documented medical cases of people suffering serious second-degree burns from doing this. That is a severe injury in an incredibly painful place. And the risks don't just stop at burns. Like we talked about, you're risking disrupting that delicate microbiome, which can lead to infections. The heat and whatever herbs are in there can cause irritation, swelling, and itching. And for anyone with an existing pelvic pain condition, it can seriously aggravate those nerve endings and just make things so much worse. Some experts even worry that micro damage to the tissue could potentially make you more vulnerable to STIs. Okay, so if steaming is out, what are you supposed to do instead? Well, the good news is there are much safer, clinically supported options for your pelvic health. Let's look at what the evidence actually points to. So here's a much better path forward. A warm sitz bath can give you that gentle warmth, but without the burn risk. When it comes to cleansing, simple is always best. Warm water is usually all you need. For pain, things like targeted exercises and breathing techniques are actually proven to help. And most importantly, for any persistent symptoms, the absolute safest and most effective step you can take is to see a doctor or a pelvic floor physiotherapist. So after weighing all the claims against the real science and the risks,
What's the bottom line? What's the key takeaway for your pelvic health?
And it's really important you know where this info is coming from. This is all grounded in an evidence-based analysis from the experts at OVA Women's Health. They're a physiotherapy clinic that specializes in pelvic health. So their approach is rooted firmly in real anatomy, physiology, and clinical evidence.
And that really leaves us with one final thought. Wellness trends are always going to come and go, especially online. But your body's biology, that's not a trend. So the next time you see a practice that promises a super simple fix for a really complex issue, it's worth asking yourself, is this advice backed by a good story or is it backed by good science?